The concept of implementation intention is deceptively simple. When you ask someone about the details of doing something versus yes or no, you are more likely to get them to do it because they've illustrated the implementation in their mind, therefore the name. So you can ask questions such as, how can you stop this behavior? How can you do this? How can you respect this person? And the person will be forced to find a way to do it. Let's take a look at how it works in more detail.
One of the most powerful persuasion principles is something that can be leveraged here, and that is a technique called implementation intention. In short, you want to ask someone about the specifics of how to do something, the implementation of it, as if they had the intention of actually doing it. Therefore the name. So you can ask, what would it take to get this done? Or how can we make this happen? Or similar questions or statements. This principle has several advantages. First of all, it forces the person to generate options. Even if they are not ideal, at least there will be additional options. Second, the person will be more likely to make it happen because now that they've thought out how to do something, it's already illustrated in their mind. The mental effort is lower, so they are more likely to do it. And finally, the person will think that it was their idea in the first place because they are the ones giving you the answer to the question. The tool itself can be easily leveraged by using statements or questions that focus on the how of something, the specifics. It's polite, it's non-confrontational, and it makes the other side think that they are in control. It's a very sophisticated technique. So if the person says, I'm not sure that I can send you these numbers soon, you can ask, how can this be done until the end of the week? Or what would it take for you to send them until the end of the week? Or if they say, I really don't want to work with you, you can say, how can we make this tolerable? Or if they say, I refuse to do this task, you can ask, what would be necessary to make it tolerable? Or what would be necessary for you to do it? An interesting insight is that you can stack these instead of using just one for an added effect. For example, in the first example, you ask for the numbers and you ask, what would it take? And they say maybe they have to speak to the supplier, find the time, etc. So you can ask, what would be necessary to contact the supplier this week? And they may say, oh, I just need to do it. I need to take care of some other tasks. And then you ask again, what would it take for you to contact the supplier this week? And so on. You can just keep stacking them, zooming in and in on how to implement it until the picture becomes clearer and clearer. The more you use them, the more likely the person is to take action. What are some examples of this? The first is asking someone, how can we do it? When you ask someone about how to do something together, they will come up with a possible solution. It's this at play. The second is asking, what would it take? When you ask someone about the necessary conditions to make something happen, you are triggering this principle as well. Another is asking, what is necessary? When you ask someone about what would satisfy the conditions to make something happen, they will elaborate on these, opening a way. What are our key takeaways here? The first is that it's all about the details. Implementation intention is all about making the other side focus on the details of something to make them more likely to do it, because they've already pictured it in their minds. This is non-confrontational. It's very sophisticated because it allows you to guide the other person to a solution without confronting them, and they don't even realize it in many cases. And finally, the person is more likely to do something after they've visualized it, both because they already know how to do it, it's less mental effort, but also because they will think that it was their own idea.
So now that we've covered how implementation intention works, you can use these questions or statements not just for problematic behavior, but to persuade people to do anything that you want them to. It's very powerful.